Welcome everyone to IsisParenting Sleep Support Webinar and Chat. My name is Nancy Holtzman. I'm a mom and baby nurse educator, board certified lactation consultant, and certified in pediatrics. And I'm here at IsisParenting's home office outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And let's see, with me today is my friend and colleague, Meg Casano, and Meg is the IsisParenting Sleep Team co-leader. I am the Vice President of Clinical Content and Online Learning here at IsisParenting. We have 4 centers in the Metro Boston area, 5 centers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and 4 more centers in Atlanta, Georgia that are brand new. So if you have friends or family in any of those areas of the country, please do let them know about IsisParenting. If you're not close to IsisParenting, we have tons and tons of online education available for you, much of which is free, like this webinar today and our breastfeeding webinar on Thursday and our expert speaker series webinars. And of course, we have online shopping at isisparenting.com. And we also do telephonic-based phone consults. And in fact, that's what we're talking about today. A lot of people will probably wonder, well, what exactly is a sleep consult and how can somebody actually help me by talking to me on the phone for 45 or 50 minutes? The interesting thing, when I tell people that our consults are phone-based, people are surprised because they think you need to meet face-to-face or go to their house. And I always joke and stroke my chin thoughtfully and say, yes, we don't need to go and gaze at the baby and say, you're right, the baby is not sleeping. Usually data collection and conversation and deep discussion can get to some of the issues and some of the solutions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to let Meg finish introducing herself and her 4 beautiful daughters and tell us about the topic of the day.
Thanks, Nancy. Hi, everyone. I have to just add, Nancy, people say the same thing to me too. Can you come to my house and do this for me? And I say, well, sure, I certainly could. But you and your baby have to establish the nighttime or nap time sleep relationship and practice and get really good at it too. So, that's another reason why it's always best if the caregiver is the one who's, establishing that. But we certainly walk you through it, give you a nice step-by-step plan. So let's talk about that. My hope for this webinar, and I know this isn't a super thrilling topic for all of you, so I'm going to try to get to some questions at the end too, but my hope for this webinar is that you will share it, tweet it, post it, pass the link around, blast it out to your friends and family, because I'm sure that all of you know someone who complains about their child's sleep, and I hope that once you see really what our program does, that you'll really see the value in what we do. Okay, so I wanted to talk about who our clients are, and we're starting with any expectant family. You might be surprised to know that we do sleep consults for expectant parents as well. This would be, talking about some of the expectations for newborns, establishing good habits. Those of you who've been with us before know the sleep graphs and charts that we use, and how newborn sleep can be a little erratic at times. And so a lot of it is working on sleep environment, learning soothing techniques, managing expectations. We work with other caregivers like nannies, grandparents. We help parents with tips for choosing a daycare, helping siblings prepare, transitions. So a lot that we can talk about with any expecting family. Also, of course, any newborn baby, toddler, siblings, twins, you name it, any child up to age 4. And occasionally with our repeat families who we've worked with over the years, we'll work with them even beyond age 4 as well. This includes everything from routines, schedules, naps, wakings. You guys can see the list here. This is, partial. There's anything as it relates to sleep. That's another kind of, I think, thing that people are sometimes pleasantly surprised to learn is that, we are able as a team to talk about other child, baby, child, toddler, developmental type issues as they relate to sleep as well, whether it's feeding, behavior, development, milestones. And so, it's really important I'll say more about that as we go on, but any family, prenatal up through age 4 and even sometimes older. And then here's the deal. Here is the thing. When you are considering a sleep consult for yourself, or when you're talking to your friends about this, it is extremely important that you do take a very close look at who you're working with. Our team at ISIS is really a team of professionals, and you can just see, this is a list of some of the degrees that we as a group hold. And the nice thing is we really use sort of an interdisciplinary approach. We share information, we bounce things off each other, and we really use our individual areas of expertise in developing a sleep plan for our families. Nancy, was there anything that you wanted to add to this slide?
No, I think that's exactly it. That I think I added in the next slide when I wrote that we're not a hobby. A lot of people struggle with infant and toddler sleep, and they read a lot of books and they watch a lot of webinars like this, and they become very knowledgeable. So then they decide that they too will become a sleep consultant, and they launch a business, and they make a blog, and I'm sure they actually can help people. But I think the point in that previous slide is that we really are clinical specialists in family dynamics, child development, and sleep. We are led by a PhD in sleep medicine and circadian biology who studies pediatric sleep, and we work together as a team. So if there's a child who's not gaining weight well, we're not going to talk about phasing out night feedings. We're going to talk to our feeding and pediatric specialist, our growth specialist, to figure out, in conjunction with the pediatrician, what is going to be an appropriate plan that both incorporates the child's need for calories as well as need for consolidated sleep.
Right.
Let's see, the
Great,
slide
thank
here.
you.
I know sometimes I put these slides together and I expect Meg to talk about them, and she actually saw the slide deck about 20 minutes before we went live today.
No, I, as always, you took my outline and made it beautiful. And, I think it sometimes feels awkward, like, tooting our own horn here. But of course, I think the biggest thing, we want you all to have success. We want you all to be sleeping, and we know we can help. We know that, sometimes people, look to, like Nancy said, their own books, blogs, but you do really want to be careful where, who your source of information is. And, more importantly, if if you're getting everything you need, it's a total sleep package. It's about scheduling, environment, routines, what's appropriate for your baby. And I actually worked with 2 families last week who I had worked with a year or 2 ago. And then they ended up moving out of town and working with a sleep consultant in their local town. And then they came back to me last week and said, "Oh my gosh, why did I ever leave ISIS? We're coming there across the country now." But, so that was just really nice, nice for us to sort of know that, even when people move, they still come back to ISIS. So you can take a look here at. Oh, we lost you, Nancy.
No, I paused. We just did a consult for a family. I think they were in Brazil because they had lived locally in Boston and experienced ISIS and used our sleep consult service, and they moved to Brazil for a year for sabbatical. And it's the phone works both ways. We can do it. We do it by Skype. I won't go into that too much, but yes, I think the point on this slide is, we really are the real deal. And I think, half the sleep team in the last 2 years attends the Harvard Medical School's Division of Sleep Medicine Grand Rounds. We're invited to attend. at these institutions and national-based conferences. That's the next slide. I think,
Yep.
did I put that? So I'll just speak to this one and the next one.
Yeah.
Professional credibility. So this, when was that? About a month ago, I was in Nashville at the AWON conference, and AWON is the Association of Women's Health, Obstetric, and Neonatal Nurses. There were 4,000 bachelor's, master's, and PhD level nurses at this conference for women's health and newborn health, and I was the only presenter focused on sleep. We had a poster there. We had over 2,000 people walk through. Notice I posted my iPad with one of the webinars playing, so Meg was actually right there with us playing one of the live webinars to show people what that's like. And then here's a close-up of the poster. You can go back later and read it, or later on you can click this link, view poster as PDF, and see it big on your screen. But we presented on the sleep program, and many of you that are familiar with our sleep webinars, you'll see I made a nice flow chart of the roster chart of the first year of infant sleep consolidation, and it was just it was pretty innovative to be able to present to 4,000 people on what we're doing to help create healthy family sleep.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great. Okay, so moving on, we've given a little of the who and what our team is. When you register for an ISIS sleep consult, a full-length initial consult is a 50-minute phone-based call, and this is for any new family, expectant family, any child, also any new issue. So it could be a returning family with a new issue, or a returning family with a sibling. And then we also do follow-up consults, which are 30-minute phone calls, and these are for clients who are currently in the works with an established plan that they have created and been working on, typically just within the last month or two of their original call. Our consults are phone-based, but we do them, all over the country and international as well. I think Nancy is at Teresa, who's keeping track, and we're going to have a big celebration when she talks to a family from every state. We have talked to families really all over the globe. It's pretty amazing. Okay, just in terms of logistics of scheduling a sleep consult, you can just call toll-free to the ISIS customer care line, and they will get you set up, scheduling a time that works for your family. We do always encourage any partners, caregivers. We've talked to grandparents, we've talked to nannies, babysitters, mother-in-laws. We have, had it's right now it's a group conference call, and so people can dial in. Sometimes husbands dial in from their office, and their partner might be at home, or however it works. We are happy to talk to more than one family member or more than one caregiver. When you do set up a sleep consult, you do get a little pre-consult work, which does include a very detailed intake form, several pages of questions that you answer about your particular baby, family, schedule, experience, things like that. And you also get some really helpful background information. There's sort of a condensed educational information piece for families to read, so that it helps to sort of manage the time spent on the call, reviewing the basics a little bit better. There's a sleep action plan to help families formalize their plan as they go through the call. And sleep assessment is a graph that we use. Those of you who've seen the webinars, the sleep assessment is that plot that really gives a nice visual for parents who are tracking their child's sleep. Okay, and then we can't talk about an ISIS sleep consult without talking about what is a sleep intervention anyway. You might hear us, even in the webinars from time to time, talk about beginning your sleep intervention. basically it's any strategy implemented by a caregiver with the goal being change. A sleep intervention, ISIS style, is not just one way. And that's a really unique thing about our program as well. A lot of places out there have sort of, this is the way you do it, and this is my way, and follow these steps X, Y, Z. When you come to ISIS, a sleep intervention is not just do this and this and this. It's working with your family. It's talking about your parenting style. It's talking about the logistics of your family life, your schedule, your siblings, what works for you and what works for the temperament of your baby. And so there are many, many ways to accomplish a change. Typically, it requires shifting of a parent-led sleep association to more of a baby-led sleep association, so that your baby has some independence in the night when you're trying to consolidate sleep. Again, this is not how everybody chooses to do it. Some parents are perfectly happy with their parent-led sleep associations. They just want a little bit of tweaking. So, again, nice thing that parents within the realm of what we know is safe and healthy and age appropriate really get to tailor their plan to meet their family goals. So if you're wondering, well, when should I call for a consult? Some parents sort of say, oh, I think my baby's too young, or, oh, I'm going to be traveling, or, oh, he's about to cut a tooth. All these things we sort of put off. The truth is, really, the sooner you can sort of, get in front of a problem and prevent some really serious sleep deprivation for either you or your baby, we always think is a good thing. So whether you are calling prenatally, it would be an education-based call. Again, you would learn about things like expectations, newborn sleep patterns, behavior, the whole sleep spectrum as it relates to newborns. This is definitely a great baby shower gift. We've had some really thoughtful spouses surprise their significant other with this, and also with sleep consults for other things like anniversaries, which I always think is really cute. Okay, if you already have a baby or you know someone who has a baby, a newborn consult would be for a baby between the age of 0 and 4 months. And this again would be an education-based call. And towards the end of this age range, parents would be able to start learning about some of the earliest, gentlest sleep interventions they can actually enact to really start consolidating sleep. A newborn call would always include talking about sleep patterns, how to extend day sleep and too short naps. A newborn call would always include establishing bedtime routines and establishing a regular bedtime. It would always include things like swaddling, soothing, settling, nighttime feedings, sleep environment, and again, much more. Lots of newborns that we work with have some medical issues, reflux, allergies, eczema. Even as babies get older, we've worked with children who are having to wear braces or helmets, or children who've broken a bone and have a cast. Lots and lots of different situations that come up for families, and we have handled it. For babies who are 4 to 5.5 months, a sleep consult would include all the elements of a newborn call, but also getting into more specifics, daytime sleep schedules, naps, childcare, returning to work, reducing night feedings if appropriate and applicable, changing sleep associations for more consolidated sleep, things like swaddle transitions, how to start some sleep interventions for bedtime and the first part of the night. This would be in the 4 to 5.5 month range. For babies who are 5.5 months and older, this is education, but also very much an action-based call now. This is the age that a daytime sleep schedule is an appropriate expectation if that's a family's goal, and when a nap intervention for improvement could be initiated. That's 5.5 months from due date. And then for babies who are 6 months and older, this is the time when full night consistency is appropriate. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean sleeping through the night, although for many babies that is possible. But I just mean consistency. You've got nice long consolidated stretches of sleep. You can expect a full night sort of, I know what's going to happen and my baby can really do the same thing every night. So daytime sleep, nighttime sleep, this is when you sort of have your full 24-hour schedule going on. And then, of course, the baby's moving into toddlerhood, early toddlerhood, 9 to 18 months old. We're talking a lot at this age about motor milestones, development, night wakings, what's appropriate, night feedings, what's appropriate, how do we reduce night feedings, sleep locations, nap transitions from 3 naps to 2 naps to 1 nap. This is a really big age for a lot of schedule change. This is also sometimes the age where new siblings are being introduced sometimes. Well, hey, if you're like me and you have kids every 16 months, but sometimes we also do calls in this age range about siblings as well. And then, of course, there are the toddlers, 18 months to 3 years, where we talk a lot about continued night wakings, bedtime routine, pushback and challenges, sleep locations, moving from a crib to a bed, napping, room sharing, preschool, illness, teething. It's, again, nightmares, you name it, we can help. And then, the older preschoolers up to age 4, I love this age range. This is, a great time where we cover lots of too early waking. Actually, that's for really any age range. We talk about too early waking. And a lot of this is about behavioral sleep challenges as well. Okay, so there you have it. Hopefully, again, this helped shed some light on why we feel so strongly about our program at ISIS. We know we can help. We know we're qualified, and we feel it's really important to help share that information with families, so that if they do need help with sleep, they are working with someone who really can direct them in the most appropriate way for their family. So please share this webinar, pass it around, and we're always happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Meg. All right, we have bunches of questions, of course. This mom, I think, was the first one in the chat room today, and first question on the list, so we're sure we're getting to her. She has a 2-year-old, which I know is getting toward the age group that you love. It's funny, whenever I send Meg a consult that's an 18-month-old or a 2-year-old, I say, "Oh, Meg, here's a toddler for you," and she rolls her eyes. we hope this child is still in the crib. Because it's very challenging to move an 18-month-old out of the crib and into a bed, which is a whole other topic and a whole other webinar. Okay, so here's a 2-year-old who has started to fight bedtime. Usually went to sleep around 7:30 without much fuss. They've used trading down, and she was falling asleep in a toddler bed. Oh, we don't know how to she is yet, but she was falling asleep in a toddler bed on her own, with mom just standing outside the room peeking in for check-ins and shushing. Now she will go to 8:15 or 8:30, getting up from bed, crying, needing us to sit on the bed with her, etc. She's also waking up more and needs attention overnight, especially over the last week. Should they push bedtime later, introduce a morning wake-up sound? She's up at 6:30 every day, so mom is worried that the bedtime is too late at 8:30, what with getting up at 6:30, and barely a 2-hour nap, doesn't nap while at daycare. And she has more afternoon meltdowns if she's overtired. What do you think, Meg, is going on?
Yeah, Becky, can you type in how 2 is she, as Nancy said? Is she like two and change, or is she like 2.5 plus? Because she was 2. Oh, so she's just 2. Yeah. It can be tricky. Sometime in the first 3 years, the circadian rhythm does actually shift about an hour later, and it can be really hard to determine when that is happening. A lot of things that could be going on here. I mean, developmentally for a 2-year-old, it is very difficult to understand, I'm supposed to stay on my bed all night and not get up. And I don't mean to make mommy and daddy frustrated, but I forget. It's easy to forget and get up. So, you're going to want to look at things like, is your schedule appropriate for her? What time is her nap? Does she have enough time in the afternoon to rebuild her sleep pressure and be ready to fall asleep quickly and easily at bedtime? If she's been falling asleep at 8:30 for the last 5 nights, I would not even start an intervention until 8:30. Meet her where she's at right now. Certainly, if you want the goal to then bring her night earlier and extend her night, that would be fine. 10-hour night and a 2-hour nap on paper is just about the lowest kind of average that I would like to see. If she seems fine to you, then that may be, she might be fine with that. I don't think it's a bad idea, though, to say, you know what, I really want at least 10 and a half, if not 11 hours overnight. At 2 with a 2-hour nap, she probably won't do a full 12 hours anymore. Never say never. But, there are a lot of things that you would want to be doing, making sure her schedule is great, her environment is great, you've got a toddler-style bedtime routine, you're nice and predictable. You might consider making her room a safe zone for her and giving her some sort of boundary at the door, like a gate, so that she's not, on autopilot coming out. It's sort of a checkpoint for her, reminding her, oh yeah, I'm supposed to turn around and go back to my bed. Lots of, I could talk about this for a really long time. Morning wake up sound could work too. Oh, she stops herself at the door, she won't come out. If you've been using trading down, you might sort of take a step back and you might actually start back in the room with her. If you prefer something slower, you might sit by her bed and sort of reboot at the later bedtime to get her back in the habit of falling asleep quickly and easily on her own. And go from there. Again, Nancy, I don't want to, I could go on and on about this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. I think at this point now that we have 40 different sleep webinars, I'm always ready to say, well, watch this one, because I know that they're both age appropriate and related in terms of, we have one on using an early, a morning wake up sound and so on. And I think that's where we do get the benefit of a sleep consult, in that I could give you this list of webinars to watch, and people kind of can certainly piece together and patch together what might be going on in creating an appropriate sleep plan or intervention for themselves. Or you can do it in a half an hour, or an hour on the phone with a little bit of homework ahead of time. I'm going to take this question. This is going to be a challenging one for you, Mega. I'm not putting you on the spot here, but we're going to, we're not going to be able to get to all the questions. And this one I think is interesting. So this mom says, playing devil's advocate here, how much of a difference do you think the techniques you suggest really make? I read in one sleep book that most kids have some issue with sleep, and it all works out by age 5 anyway. Similarly, do other primates have so much trouble with sleeping? It's hard to picture chimps struggling with sleep training. What's their secret? Actually, I love your webinars and find them very helpful. Just looking for motivation to keep working on things. Well, I'll tell you one thing. First of all, we are primates, and primates are a close contact species. And I think our babies would have much less issue with sleep if we did not fight biology the way we do. Our culture has changed much faster than biology. And if you think back to 500 years or 1,000 years, our offspring are exactly the same physiologically, biologically, anatomically, neurodevelopmentally, and our babies are designed to sleep next to our moms and nurse on and off all night long. And that is how the baby will sleep well and mom will sleep well, and that will usually continue until about 18 months old. And so it's really our culture that has said, no, we need longer periods of consolidated sleep. No, the baby needs to sleep in a separate sleep area versus the mom. No, the parents sleep in one room and the baby sleeps somewhere else. No, the baby must sleep on his back. So all of these things that, that culture and research have interrupted in what probably is the natural primate way of doing things is in some ways what creates the sleep challenges. But we live in the culture that we live in. Fortunately, babies are adaptable. If humans were not adaptable, we wouldn't make it this far. Okay, that's my take. And I will also
Laura,
say,
did you know that you were... Laura was sparking such a... as soon as I saw this, oh, here we go. Nancy's going to start talking about the primate thing. Nancy loves this question.
I do, I do. But the other thing I'll say is, I read in one sleep book that most kids have issues with sleep and it works out by age 5 anyway. Let me tell you, there is a hell of a lot of nights from newborn to 5 years. That is a lot of nights of sleep deprivation. And after 25 years of working with moms and babies, and I think people that follow me on Twitter or have taken classes with me or hear me on a regular basis know that I really do have a nurturing attachment parenting philosophy, especially during the youngest weeks and months. And I think that I have worked with a lot of moms, and I perhaps was one of these moms myself with my first child, who is a martyr mom and really thinks that she really does need to continue getting up or nursing her 9 to 12 month old 4 or 5 times a night or perpetuating sleep associations because it's the nurturing way to do it, and creating any angst or anxiety or stress or crying for her baby is makes everybody distressed. And that is true. But I can also tell you that I've seen so many different ways of parenting in nurturing, respectful ways that don't disrupt the parent relationship and do consolidate sleep. So if mom really does need to be up at 6 a.m. to shower and get the baby up at 6:30 to get the baby to daycare at 7 so she can be in her work and effective at 7:30, like that's real life, and you actually need 7 hours of sleep at night to manage that. All right, I'll shut up now. Meg,
Yeah.
you say your piece.
Well, I'm looking at Laura's question, saying, okay, so I think that you covered it all works out by age 5. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, I think for some kids it might very well work itself out by age 5. But for a lot it won't. In fact, a lot of adults who are not great sleepers, their parents report that they were not great sleepers as children as well. So I don't buy that, actually. But Nancy, I just lost the question in my view, and I wanted to go back. I think Nancy answered the primate question. Sure, little baby monkey snuggling with mommy and nursing all night. No, you're right. Probably that. Yeah, but so I think we covered that. And then I just wanted to touch on her question. Do our suggestions really help? I think that was sort of how she worded it. And my answer is, if you do it the way your sleep consultant walks you through and instructs you in the way that feels right to your family, yes, it does work. Every once in a while we tweak based on baby's temperament, based on parents' ability to be consistent with the plan they thought they wanted versus the plan that they logistically end up feeling like they can implement. So every once in a while we will tweak. But absolutely, I 100% stand by my recommendations and the recommendations of my team, that yes, you can absolutely get better sleep. Yeah.
Yes, and they're different in every family. And I will tell you, again, as a nurturing and attachment parenting philosophy person, I see people write this over and over again, that sleep is innate and the baby will sleep when he's sleepy. Well, that's true. That's sleep pressure. But I will tell you that sleep, and in particular sleep problems, these are learned behaviors, and they're learned behaviors that become reinforced. And so it's true that there are probably, for any given situation, there are multiple approaches and there are multiple ways that you could address a situation, and most of them may be effective. So I don't think any of us are saying that we have the only way, because we talk to a family. The family may have a very similar situation to another family, and we may approach it and address it in a completely different way because of parenting style or the child's response or their living situation. They're all in one room, or they have to share a room with a sibling. I mean, there's just so many variables. Number one, that's the difference between trying to read it in a book or listen to a webinar and having an actual conversation. And number two, I think that, I lost my train of thought. Next question. We're in the midst of switching from 2 naps to 1. Babies are 20 months tomorrow, 18 months adjusted. They're exhausted at 10 and crabby and sleep for 3 hours if allowed, but then really crabby at 4. So let's see, bedtime's at 7:30. How can we shift so we have happy, rested babies? Mom also thinks the boy might need to nap twice and the girl once for a little while. Awesome. Not really awesome, she says. So it
Yeah,
sounds like maybe the
that's
babies are
awesome.
getting up early. I don't know what time, but they need that. They're ready for a morning nap at 10, and that's not, it's a long nap, but it's still not enough to hold them over for bedtime at 7:30. So they're in kind of that middle, that in between nap transition phase. What do you think?
Yeah, I know Kara knows a ton about this. So I'm sure, Kara, that, you've got a regular wake time, great sleep environment, and predictable bedtime routine. And so really nap transition can be a little rocky for several weeks. They are on the older side, so 20 months, 15 months is average to transition from two naps to one. So I wouldn't expect too much struggle for more than a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Some babies take 6 or more weeks to really do the full nap transition. But basically, I would just start extending that morning nap. 10 becomes 10:15, becomes 10:30, gradually get them used to withstanding that greater amount of sleep pressure in the morning, without making them so crazy overtired that you're just having meltdowns. But it is going to be important that you do shift that nap more into the middle of the day, so that you can, have a predictable bedtime that at a time that works for your family. Whenever you do make a transition from 3 naps to 2, or 2 naps to 1, or 1 naps to none, bedtime does typically have to move earlier. So I'm not sure if you accounted for that. Like if their bedtime has always been 7:30, they might actually need a bedtime that's more like 7 for now. So just keep that in mind too. And as far as, because they're 20 months, hey, if you want to, but I wouldn't have your son doing 2 and your daughter having 1. You're going to be home all day. That's going to be difficult, I think, for you. If you like that, sure, but I see no reason why they both can't transition at the same time because they're 20 months. Yeah.
Okay. How are you doing, Meg? Do you have time for one or two more
Yeah.
questions? You have a consult you have to get out.
Sure.
What do you need to do?
Nope, I have a consult in a little bit, but I can do a few more.
Okay, we'll try to do quick ones. Um, Okay, this one is a bookending question, I think, and maybe a baby who's getting ready for a bedtime routine. And I'll see how you suggest to approach this. Mom says, my 10-week-old boy, Cooper, is only ready for bedtime at midnight. Is that okay or too late? He'll sleep right through until 9 a.m. So Meg and I don't care what time your baby's bedtime is if they make it up on the other end, but that may that may or may not fit in well with your lifestyle. If you're night owls, having a child that has a later bedtime and sleeps in the morning is not a bad thing. Um, but Meg, what do you think about this? He is at 10 weeks. He's sleeping straight through. Wow, from midnight to 9 a.m.
Okay, so do we know if baby was premature at all? Or are we 10 weeks from due date?
I think he was pretty much term. I'd be interested to know
Okay.
though what's going on between 7 and midnight. Is the baby napping and dozing in a sling or carrier or swing? And are they, getting ready, not missing the baby's first bedtime cue, but getting ready to make that nap into bedtime?
Well, and that's a good point. Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask. Is sometimes when you get these massive stretches of sleep, 9 to 10 to 11 hours straight, I'm sort of thinking, well, it's actually normal for babies to wake up. And so I would just want to make sure that this baby's not like so overtired going into midnight that this massive sleep pressure that's just sustaining her through this long night, or him through this long night. So I'm with you, Nancy. I would look carefully at what's happening in the evening. I mean, I agree, whether it's 12 to 9 or, 11 to 7, or, whatever works for the family. But at 10 weeks, if you've got social smiling going on, the circadian rhythm is starting to develop and should be, by about 12 weeks, driving for a nice predictable bedtime. And that bedtime should naturally want to be shifting earlier. You want to help the bedtime shift earlier by exposing him to darkness. This is Ellen. So if you're, over, Ellen, I think you're in Ireland, just check the environment now. I know it can be quite light there for quite late. So you'll want to make sure that his little body is in the dark from more of your desired bedtime. Like if you like him going to bed more like 10 or 9 or even 8, start quieting your house down, dimming things down, start to try to do a bedtime routine earlier around that last nap, like around 8 o'clock or so, do a little bedtime routine, get him in his jammies, get him nice and full. And then, when he pops up at 11 or 11:30, treat that more like a night feeding, or any interaction that you're having with him between the hours of 8 and 11. Just keep it dark. Like if you've been bringing him in to play with you, hang out on his mat while you're watching TV, just sort of say to yourself, all right, can I make a commitment to sort of keep him in his sleep environment, keep him in the dark quiet? You or another caregiver can come and go in and out of his room, responding, soothing, rocking, trying to, I see, I'm watching your comments. Oops, we've been playing with him. And it's not an oops, it's just that's key, sort of sending him the message, yep, okay, that was a nap, now let's get up and do something else. So his circadian rhythm is set to the later time. So you just want to reshift. This is a perfect example of, if you talk to some other sleep consultant, maybe somewhere else, and they would say, oh, put him in his crib and start doing this at 8. But if you haven't prepped him with darkness and shifted the circadian rhythm, that's not a fair expectation. So yes, you are shifting the circadian rhythm first with darkness exposure, minimizing interaction, and letting the bedtime naturally do what it's designed to around the 10 to 12 week mark.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully that helped.
Brill. I love that, Brill. Okay, I think we still have, of course, a handful of questions as we always do, but we are out of time and we need to give Brooks his little moment in the light here. So I flipped the slide. Brooks is that little guy in the photo. And he's a sleep consult baby, I do believe, isn't he?
He is a sleep. Yes, he's my sleep consult baby.
I see some questions, like there's a question from Carly who has a 3.5-month-old, and that's a challenging sleep time. And I did suggest, there's a bunch of webinars that we have geared to that age group. She's asking about when do babies move from 3 naps to 2 on average. So for your little one at 3.5 months, you probably are still seeing fragmented naps, some cat naps during the day, maybe 3 to 4 erratic naps, but can hopefully soon get into a routine where you're seeing 3 discrete periods of time, although they probably will not be naps where the baby is down in the crib sleeping soundly for an hour and a half. That would be nice, but not bloody likely. But soon.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Let's see. Next week, I think we're going to do all Q&A next week. And then, Meg, I'm just throwing this one at you. I had another idea for a topic. The following week after that, I thought we should talk about the sleep products that we like. So things like the Merlin and the Woombi and, room darkening shades and the white noise machine and all these different things. And maybe we can even talk about products that we don't like and why. I guess we'll have to be careful with that. Next week, and then this Thursday on the breastfeeding chat, it's all Q&A. So if you have questions about feeding or pumping, please attend that. And what else? Anything else, folks? Meg, anything from you?
No, I think I'm good. Nancy, if people want, we can talk about the sleep products Tuesday. Well, we can talk about it, but we could flip-flop if you want.
Either one. I thought it's been a few weeks since we've had all Q&A, so people love that.
Yeah. I will be chatting from
I think we better wrap
Northern New York.
Thanks everybody for coming. We had a nice turnout.
All right.
Lots of regulars. Please help us remember to spread the word on Twitter, Facebook, and in particular on things like Instagram, Pinterest, and other message boards that you may participate in that I'm not able to reach out to.